Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode we are going to be seeing what we can do with this tractor. I'm not sure if we will be able to revive it or if we'll have to rebuild it or what we will have to end up doing, because he claims that it had bad valve guides and he ran it until it burned more oil than it did gas. So if it will be revivable without engine work or not, I'm not sure, but it's all original paint. You see it still has the dealer sticker. Everything's original. Obviously the rear tires are not, but everything else is all original on it. I bought it from the original owner. Not sure what he had bolted to the fender here, but it's in pretty good shape. It looks like he took good care of it. It's got a new seat on it. Needs a good bath, but let's get it running first. It was building kept, as far as I know, for most of its life at least. It sat in a building for the last 20 or 30 years or so. He didn't tell me exactly how long, but you see they got a jumper wire just kind of on here for some reason or another. Engine looks fairly clean. We'll have to put a battery in it and see if it turns over, see if it has spark. And then in yesterday's video I finished up that 110. I need to change the oil, so I think when I change the oil I'm going to put the old oil in this to get it running, because it's still decent oil. Has a sleeve hitch on it. Obviously the big tires, but it's in decent shape. Figure I put that old oil in this because dipstick's on the other side, dummy. It has oil in it, but it's low-ish. It's leaning forward right now, so I'm going to put another quart or so in it so it's above full. So if we get it started and it does burn a lot of oil, it doesn't blow up. Because this is the Series 1 with no oil pump. So I'm going to go ahead and put a battery in this. And we're going to see about getting it turning over and see if it has spark and go from there. No sparkles. I don't immediately see smoke. Nothing with the key. Nothing for the lights. Hold the brakes down. Nope. Wonder if he's got I don't think we're getting power. PTO won't even turn on. It won't even make sense. So I guess we got to figure out where we're losing power at. Green gets power when I turn on the key. Red has power supplying to the key switch. Looks like purple might be in the right spot. Okay guys, it seems that we need a new key switch in this thing. I'm over here probing around with my little handy test light. Green. Oh, with the key turned on, of course. I got, get in there, power at green. I got power at red, but of course it's the hot. Got power at yellow. Got power at the one above yellow. This one should be start. wedge it in there. Nothing. I've been sitting there probing and poking and wiggling and trying to make it have connection. It's not getting power through the start position. So, for some reason, the key switch is only bad in one spot, unless for some reason just that one corroded. So I'm going to try and pull that plug off the key switch and clean it up maybe and see about that. Unfortunately, there's not enough space in here for my big fat head, my hands, and you guys to see. So I'm going to have to do it off camera, but I'm just going to pull this plug off right here and check the connection and see if it's dirty. If it's dirty, that's probably our problem, but I'm not going to count on it. So I'll bring you guys back in a minute. Anyway, for anybody curious about what I had going on here, I got that clamped there and the other end on the positive, because I can't have the battery in there and be able to have room to probe. And I didn't want the ground hooked to this, so as you see, it's not hooked up. I just have the test light end clamped to the battery. That way nothing can catch on fire in here. I can't short anything out if I touch the wrong spot. So, not an OSHA approved way probably, but I'm smarter than OSHA, so here we go. Okay, so here's the next non-OSHA approved redneck thing I did. I unplugged the key switch. It doesn't look too horribly dirty. The power was corroded a little. Had some dirt around it. So I ran this jumper wire to the power on the key switch in the hot. Turned on the key and I have power in the auxiliaries. But I do not have power when I turn the key to start. So I need a new switch. I'm going to get that taken care of and I'll bring you back. Okie dokie. So I got power running to the hot on here. Turn the key on. Have power here, here, and here like I should. Put it in here. Turn it to start. Nothing. So for sure our key switch is bad. I just need to replace the key switch and we should be good. Okay guys, it's been a day or two. As you guys saw, the key switch is bad. I got a new one on order and should be here next week sometime. As of right now, I'm going to take the platform off and take the tank off because it's not very clean in there. And I'm going to clean the tank out and check over the fuel system some. It's damp, but it doesn't have any gas in it, so I'm hoping that he drained it when he stopped running it. That would make my job much easier, and I could just maybe spray that carb out a little bit like we did on the 110 patio we just did. That would make my life easier. So, closing the hood on it for now. We are going to grab the platform off and take the tank off and go from there. So I'm going to throw you guys in a time lapse and get to pulling it apart. So I was just poking around up here a little bit. Look at all the oil. Once I took the air cleaner off, that was soaked. I mean, the hood, I got dirtier taking the hood bolts out to flip the hood forward than I did working on the transmission. And this is the air cleaner. See all the oil on everything? Take it off. Look how much oil there is in here. Everything's stuck to everything. Look at that. This shouldn't be getting oil in it. I do not believe that this is an oil bath. So, where's all the oil coming from? I'm wondering if it's not burning oil, but it's leaking it and spraying it out on the top of the engine somewhere, and then when it gets warm, it's burning it off the muffler. As much as there is up here, I mean, there shouldn't be oil sitting on top of the engine, but there is, and it smells like it was in the engine. It's not like somebody was lubricating something with it. It smells like it was in the engine. So we get it running, we'll have to look and see. But I mean, oil soaked completely. And obviously it's been sitting for 20 years, so some of it's dried up. But I mean, geez. So hopefully that's a problem. I would like to replace the fuel line that goes from the pump back to the tank. The pump is right here, and that is the fuel line. And I'm not taking the manifold off of this until I find out if it runs. There's no point in taking the manifold off, getting it putting it back on with new gaskets, getting it running, and then needing to take it back apart again to put money into the engine. So, yeah. I guess we'll see what happens, but yeah, I was just noticing all the oil on here. Other than that, everything's fairly clean, doesn't have a whole lot of dirt. But yeah, there's a lot of oil. So I'm going to keep poking around, and I'll bring you back if I find anything interesting. Alright guys, it's December 6th. Got my key switches the other day. Yesterday, actually. So let's go ahead and put it in here and see if we have turnoverage. Alright, so I put my new key switch in, hook up the battery, see if it turns over. It does, but my battery's acting dead. Alright, so before we fully kill our battery, see if we have spark. Alright, let's see if it has spark. Nope, no spark. So, I'm going to charge the battery up, and we'll clean the points and then see if we have spark then. Alrighty guys, let's see if we got sparklation now. I charged the battery, I replaced the points and condenser and adjusted the points. Let's see what we get. Nothing. I'm not getting spark at the points. And the points are still the problem. What the heck? Who thinks this battery might be bad? Didn't take long to go dead, and the charger said full. But nonetheless, we still have no spark at all. So let's see what we're going to do. Alright guys, I'm going to charge the battery up again real quick because obviously it's junk. But fiddled around, and now when I turn over the engine, still no spark though. So I'm thinking probably going to have to check into replacing the coil, because I'm getting goodies to the coil, and other than that, I mean, I don't know. So I guess I could check a few other things real quick before I charge this up. So I'll bring you back in a sec. Okay, so I determined I am not getting any power to the positive on the coil for some reason or another. I'm not real sure why, because I was earlier. I replaced the key switch, but it's brand new. Got it from Midwest Tractor Group, and I've gotten parts from them before. They've always been quality parts. They're always been real nice people to deal with. So I can't imagine the key switch is bad, plus it cranks the tractor over. So I'm going to have to determine what is going on there. But I'm going to give this a few minutes to charge back up, and then we will probe around and see what's going on. So I'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, I got this all hooked up. The charger is not charging, it's just monitoring the voltage. It's 12.9 volts right now. I think you can see that. Right here is the light up in line. You're going to see if it sparks or lights up. Got a jumper wire on the hot. I'm just going to touch it to the positive on the battery when I turn it over and see if we get spark. And we do get spark when I do that. So the coil's good. I just need to figure out why we are not getting power from the key switch to the coil. And then we will have spark. Don't know if it interests you guys in seeing. Don't know if I'll even put it on here. Okay, that. The hot to the key switch has power currently. Turn on the key, that has power. That has power. I wonder if it's just not pushed on far enough. Let's try that. Well, we appear to have power there now. Of course, this will have power when we do this. So we might have just had a bad connection. It seems that we have power everywhere we're supposed to there now. So let's put the battery in it and check that again. All right, same ordeal as last time. That's not charging, just monitoring voltage. This should spark when we have spark. I got all that hooked up over there properly in order to tell us the voltage and for me to be able to check if we're getting power to the coil. We are now. All right, let's turn it over and see if we get spark. Yep, we have spark. Let's see here. We perfectly have spark now. I can put the points cover back on and be done with that. Next step is to shoot it a little ether and see if it pops. I would like to get the points cover put back on first and get a few things taken out, take this out of line and whatnot. So I'm going to do that real quick off camera and charge the battery back up a little bit, and we'll be back. That guy was right. It smokes like a freight train, but it runs. I suppose the next step is to clean out the gas tank and getting some fuel and get it fired up. Alright guys, I just cleaned out the tank and cleaned it off, and I have some bad news. There's a hole in the tank. It's cracked through. So I am going to hunt around for another tank, but that's just going to delay this project even further. So bear with me guys. You just saw it run, you know it runs, but I got to find another tank, so it could be another week for me. So I'll catch you later. Alright ladies and gentlemen, I replaced the fuel hose on the back. Here's the new one. There's the old one, hard as a rock. It's hooked up in the pump up here. Grabbed a new tank. By the way, it is the next day. Today is Wednesday. Grabbed a new tank. It's out of a 300, so the filler neck is different. We're hoping it'll still work. It's just a scotch shorter, but otherwise it's the same. It fit right down on here. So now it's got to put the tank on and put gas in it and see about getting gas to the carb. So let's see. I'm going to get some stuff done off camera still, because I'm sure you don't want to see me fighting with a gas tank for half an hour, and I'll bring you back. Alright, gas tank's in, hooked up. I wrote on it what it's out of and when it was replaced, in case somebody wants to know later down the road. Now all I've got to do, put some gas in the tank, get it primed up to the fuel pump, and hope the fuel pump works. And from there, try and get her to start on and run on gas. So let's go ahead and put some gas in the tank and see if we can't get fuel up to the pump. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I just went ahead and got fuel up to the pump and hooked that back up. Now I am going to try to start it on ether and run it on ether a little bit and see if I can get it to fill up the carburetor with fuel and maybe run on its own. So I'm going to put you guys in the stand and get right to it. I don't know why this thing does what it does. not quite fast enough. Come over here and start the camera when the charger starts back up. It's starting to scream a little bit, even though I'm not doing much of anything with it. So next step is to check on that. I need to check the oil now that we've let it run for a while. I know you guys probably can't see it as much, but it's awful foggy in here now. It runs all right. It keeps missing though, which is obviously an issue. Let it cool down and let all the oil go back down in there a little bit. It's warmed up pretty good. So I am going to check on the oil in the rear end and let it cool down. And we'll check the engine oil and see how much it burned and maybe see if it'll fire back up. All right guys, I pumped up the front tires. Check the oil. We're up halfway through the twist right now with the tires pumped up. The battery's supposedly full charge. It's junk, so it won't last a few cranks, but it's supposedly up. Made a mess back here, filling it up. You can see it up here though. So we should be good there. Now let's see if we can get it to fire back up and run pretty good. Or at least move a little bit, and then maybe we can let it run a little while longer. I got the door open now for some fresh air and see how much oil it burns. We have a problem. Why it's acting like it's pumping oil through that tube, I don't know. It's not supposed to. That filter should not have oil, as far as I know. Hard to believe. Thing's even charging. I'm just not going to worry about that right now. It's not making noise anymore. So it must be getting oil through everywhere now. If it wants to leak some out, that's fine, I guess. Thing runs pretty good, doesn't it? Drive shaft and U-joints run pretty straight and true. Not all whopper jawed like the 420 was. It burns a little oil, but I can't imagine that it burns as much as he said it was burning with just that much smoke. Runs pretty good. Like it's dripping. Might have been from earlier. Oh, did I see a drip? Turn the belt and see if it starts getting wet. Dry right there so far. Give it a minute and see if it starts getting wet. That might have been an earlier leak. That belt hasn't got wet at all yet, where I turned it to. Still charging. Good bit of blow by. It's blowing oil all over me when I pull that out. remember, we were halfway up the twist in the dipstick when I last checked it before we started it. Let's check it again. All right, I cleaned it off. It's still right where it was. Didn't move. It probably run for 5 or 10 minutes, enough to get hot, and didn't move. So I guess it's not burning as much as he thought. So I guess I'll throw it back together and figure out some of the leaks, like that major leak right there out of the filter in the tube that shows you how full to go. Not sure why it's leaking, but it's making a mill of a head. So I'll bring you back in a little bit when I start getting things together. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been running for about 10 minutes now. I moved it forward and back, lifted and lowered the deck. There's no leaking down here. Must have just had an air bubble in the system last night. Worked itself out overnight. I've lifted and lowered that plenty of times. There's no leaks. I don't see any problems. It's still smoking, but not as bad. The oil was almost up to the double round dents above the caution when I started it. So I'm going to let it run here a little longer, and we're going to check on things. Kind of slow to respawn. That's okay. I didn't have to use ether this morning when I started it. It fired right up on its own. Alrighty. Well, I guess I'm going to shut it down and check the oil and check on everything and then go from there. Okay, well, I fear the guy might have been right, as a matter of fact. Remember I told you it was up to the dots above caution. Now it's up to the A in caution. So it burned a ½ inch of oil in 10 minutes. But regardless of how much oil it burned, the rear end is all done. The gas tank seems to be working. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the rear end. It drives forward and back. It lifts and lowers the deck and sleeve hitch. So I'm going to go ahead and put the platform back on and get the back end buttoned up and put some different front tires on it so we can drive it around, because those don't hold air. And then we're going to see how much oil it does in fact burn when you take it out and drive it around. And maybe we'll have to do some engine work. Maybe we'll just keep adding oil. We'll have to see. Ta-da! Bars and 3 ribs. Let's get her fired back up here after we check on the oils and fluids, and take it out and take her for a drive and see what happens. Also, I need to put some knobs back on first. The fuel neck cleared, everything worked good as it's supposed to, so I'm happy there. But I'm going to throw a couple things back together and we're going to fire it up and take it out for a drive. Alright guys, I checked the oil. It is up about an inch above top, so we're going to see if this sucker will fire up without a battery charger. Alright guys, it drove around a little bit, but if I get down into a lower throttle, it starts only running on one cylinder. So I need to get into that, but I've already got a lot of footage, so I think that's going to be in the next video on this tractor. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in seeing this tractor and many others that I have and work on, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm not sure if this will be the next project that I work on, because I have a customer project I need to do right now, but it will be coming up. I plan to get this thing usable this winter so I can plow with it. So I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.